Good morning, gang. Happy Sunday morning. Try to do this a second time because I didn't think you wanted to listen to a whining dog over the whole video. That's what happens when tennis balls wind up under chairs. So, are you ready for another year of face masks, hand sanitizer, plexiglass shields, social distancing, all that? You might want to think about it. Okay. Sure as hell don't want it. Most of us are probably like, I ain't playing that game again. Except it might be coming. Now, besides the fact that we have another election coming up, and God knows the only way the Democrats can win an election is by manipulating the voter rolls. Just trying to choose my words again, see what happens here. Okay. Because winning an election legitimately is certainly not something that's in the Democrat playbook. So what are they going to do? Well, where they're trying to deflect going Russia, 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 and we all know that's bullshit, okay? The more realistic thing to do is to look at China, 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 who we all know that the DNC, the Biden administration, and every leftist liberal communist is in bed with. Okay. Good old Joe. So why do I say that, we're going to have more lockdowns and all this? Well, interesting scenario, interesting story came out yesterday. And you might want to pay attention to this one. Remember a couple of years ago, we were all forbidden. It was fake news. It was a conspiracy theory about the origins of COVID. God knows you couldn't say where it came from. We had to kowtow to the media who was saying, well, gee, this must have come out of the United States because that's what the Chinese say, where, all the evidence pointed where it came out from. We heard the wet market bullshit and all that sort of stuff. It was from a biolab in Wuhan. Okay? That's been a proven fact. Whether or not the overlords in social media will accept that yet, we don't know. However, this time, there may be some truth to, this came from the United States. And you go, holy crap, are we getting involved in this? No, not necessarily. Okay. It's still Chinese. It just happens to be being taken care of on U.S. soil. There was, yesterday, reported a Chinese biolab discovered in California, communist California, great place to put it, in a small town called Reedley in Fresno County. Okay? This was an old warehouse, looked like an abandoned building that basically had nothing going on until you had a local code enforcement officer just kind of driving around doing his job, noticing something out of sorts. A garden hose sticking out of a hole that was drilled in a concrete wall. It's not what you normally have happen. Okay, so, who? Maybe there's homeless living in there. I mean, it is California after all, right? Okay. Or something. So he went to check it out. Well, what did he find? Well, what he found was a huge stockpile and laboratory setup of blood samples, tissue samples, bodily fluids, serums, and thousands of boxes of unlabeled fluids and biological material. Okay? Get this. They also found 900 genetically engineered mice that were engineered to catch and carry, in other words, transmit, COVID. Now, think about this. What did you have go on a couple of years ago? Well, the cities, all the liberal Looney Tunes that live there were going, please give me my 7th shot. Let me have my bag of fries in exchange for putting something that's completely foreign to my body. I'll take that injection. And the folks out in the country, i.e. me, okay, you guys, a lot of you guys, are like, oh no, you ain't sticking me with any experimental medicine or whatever. And so they got their 60% or whatever it was. They didn't get enough compliance to the Fauci ouchie. Well, think about it. Cities have rats. The country has mice. Okay? That's why I don't mind seeing snakes when they're running around my yard. They keep the mice away, which keep the disease away. Okay? Just fine. Snakes eat the mice. Works for me. So let's get a bunch of mice. How difficult is it, the way mice reproduce, to spread disease by dropping a couple of mice out in the middle of the cornfield near some town or whatever it was? And all of a sudden you have a pandemic. Okay? Yes, I know I'm speculating, but that's kind of what you have to do in order to prepare for stuff. They also found another 178 mice that were already dead from this. Okay? As the city manager said, she says, I've never seen anything like this. The assistant director of the Department of Public Health said, in my 26-year career, I've never seen anything like this. Okay. When the CDC tested what they found at least 20 potential infectious agents being stored there, including COVID, including HIV, including hepatitis, including herpes, okay? And where were all these boxes coming from? They had shipping labels on there saying they all came from China. Go figure, all right? So for all this we hear about Russia, the watch this hand, ignore this hand stuff, okay? As you and me and anybody else with 2 brain cells to rub together has been saying for years, Russia is not our enemy. China is our enemy. And these 90-year-olds in Washington who have their heads stuck so far up their posterior, they haven't realized it isn't 1960 anymore, and Nikita Khrushchev isn't the one running the Soviet Union. The Cold War's over, okay? Russia is not our enemy. China is our enemy. China is the one that is trying to destroy the United States. Okay? Then, to figure this one out, okay, this is actually the other way on it. Just something about China yesterday. Your money, we'll just add this one to it real quick. Friday, the U.S. unveiled a $345 million military aid package for Taiwan. Again, like it's any of our freaking business if China goes into Taiwan, okay? I know you guys can tell me about semiconductors and everything. I'm getting it, but I'm breaking this down to the basics. For years, we've adhered to the one China policy, but now we're going to, even though we have, Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, however you want to call it, we're trying to play both sides of the middle. Oh, China, we agree you're all one country. Oh, Taiwan, we believe you're independent. This is pretty much how the United States has decided to do business. The cowardice way, tail between their legs. We'll just try to placate everybody. Well, now it's time for the roosters to come home because China wants to go into Taiwan, so we're going to send Taiwan $345 million, which that's going to make China real happy, okay? Because, hey, you know what? We got to take out the United States. Right. So how do you do it? Well, you take it over with some sort of non-conventional weapon. Biological's a good idea. That gets rid of the people and leaves the infrastructure. That's what China wants, okay? One of you guys asked me last night about, with everything going on, are we going to have an ammo shortage? And I talked a little bit about the 22 LR that we saw years ago, where we had that ammo shortage. Yeah, we're probably going to see something because what the U.S. is doing is selling all this stuff to China, or giving it to it. Basically, it's an aid package, giving it to Taiwan from our own reserves. Okay, so this is intelligence equipment, surveillance equipment, reconnaissance equipment, and small arms ammunition. Small arms ammunition, you know, the stuff that you use to feed your AR, to feed your 9mm, to feed your shotgun. Yeah, those are the things that we are giving them. So, yes, you can expect us, the people, again, to suffer because of China yet again. This is what we got going. This is what nobody pays attention to. And I will scream this from the mountaintop. Russia is not the concern that we have. Let Russia play with Ukraine all they want. That's Europe's problem. Okay? China is the problem that we need to worry about. China is our biggest threat. And until the morons in Washington figure that out, you and I are all at risk. Pinball out.